Welcome back, everyone, and welcome, of course, to the new listeners who have joined us since these celebrations on Tuesday night. Welcome to the bandwagon. Hop on. You're stuck with us now. Now, if you are enjoying the show, please do leave us a 5-star review wherever you are listening. It really, really helps. Every single positive review helps the show and makes sure we keep growing. The Premier League is back this weekend after our midweek exploits. We face Sunderland Saturday 3 p.m. for the second week in a row. Now, Jim, another 3 p.m. kickoff. How do you feel about 3 p.m. kickoff? Where does it kind of fit in your weekend?
So I feel differently about this one than I did last weekend because I'm going to the game, right? So I have the luxury of seeing it live. A lot of people won't. I pay north of 70 quid a month to watch all the football, and it increasingly is annoying when you can't watch a game at 3 o'clock, right?
Yes. That's a good deal, Jim. Who are you with?
Well,
this is boring chat, but I want to know because I'm sure I'm paying over 100.
I do TNT through Amazon and Sky Sports through Now TV.
Lovely. And as
so Now
upstanding
TV.
citizens, we do not
Absolutely
watch 3
Yeah.
o'clock.
No. We will travel to another country to watch it legally in that other country because we're also dedicated fans. But I quite like having these 3 p.m. kickoffs because even though, you know, we're all still going to see the footage of the game, and if people want to watch the game, they will find a way to do it from, let's say, another country. It does feel a bit like we're under the radar, right? Which is quite nice because we've had 2 clean sheets in a row. We've got through to a cup final, so there's some buzz from that, and the temperature's come down a bit, so it feels like all the pressure is on other people, especially because we're playing first, and it's also just nice to be safe from Gary Neville, isn't it? Gary Neville won't be just spewing his goatee Gary Neville noises over us all weekend.
No, we'll be third on Match of the Day with a lovely commentator, and it won't be Gary Neville.
Exactly, and like, you know, a lot of the time I quite like Gary Neville. There's a lot about him I think that's really, really positive, but just hearing him commentate on Arsenal, it's like watching your favourite band, but like Greg Wallace is there and he's got a mic and he keeps chipping in about I've sung too long.
The battery flavour.
Shut up, Gary.
Yeah.
So we're flying under the radar. It does feel like you sort of sneak in. The big event is is on the Sunday, and we just collect our 3 points. And we're on our way. Johnny, same thing? You like
Same
it 3
thing,
p.m.?
yeah. I much prefer having Clinton Morrison or Michael Dawson on Gillette Soccer Saturday presiding over our games. It feels like there's less jeopardy. I mean, I know we've had those Arsenal-Bournemouth games when that was a 3 p.m. kickoff. I'm not going to be at the game. I'm going to be at a wedding, which is annoying because the wedding starts at 3 p.m. So I'm going to have to...
Oh my God, who are these friends?
He's
Do they
flying
not
back in from
know?
Nigeria. He's a
busy.
Borough fan, actually. He's a Borough fan, so he doesn't care. Well, he does care because he'll be playing as well. But yeah, he's so anyway. But yeah, I much prefer, like you say, we're playing earlier. We are under the radar. I'll be having an eye on Gillette Soccer Saturday, and not on a legal stream.
I feel completely the same. It feels a bit safer. I'm less scared. You know, the 4:30 on a Sunday is like high profile. Everyone is watching.
The build up, the anxiety over the weekend of now we've got to win now.
Exactly. Someone else who enjoys a 3 p.m. watching Arsenal, Dominic Solanke. Some of his tweets resurfaced. I think this was from 2014, where he says, Arsenal game, take me out, X Factor, then match of the day, night sorted, #chilled, #love it. Just the whole kind of phrasing of that is so 2014.
It's so like
the hashtags.
I can't believe hashtags feel quaint now, but it feels so wholesome, doesn't it?
#love it.
Yeah.
#love it.
And Take Me Out. If you're not from the UK, it's well worth searching the show Take Me Out with Paddy McGuinness. It was like being out in like a sort of provincial town centre at like 10:30 on a Saturday night. Is that everyone's a bit hammered.
Ipswich revs.
Like,
they should have taken it on the road actually. Like Question Time.
Yeah,
that would have been a smart move.
God, that would have been so good.
That would have been unreal. Norwich 1 week, Scarborough, Chelmsford. It would have been.
Do it outside.
If anyone's listening from ITV, that is an actually fantastic
reboot
idea.
that format. Fantastic.
That would be like the best of Britain.
But I mean, clearly Dominic Solanke, obviously now playing for Spurs, loved an Arsenal game. I do wonder who finds these tweets. I'm like, who is going through Dominic Solanke's tweets from over a decade ago and going, hello. Anyway, we play at 3 p.m. We have some injuries to discuss and some people missing from training this week. So Bukayo Saka, we know, is not going to be back, it says, until maybe the North London derby. We might also be without Jurrien Timber and Martin Odegaard, who sat out on Tuesday night. Jim, how worried are you about maybe Jurrien Timber missing?
I wonder if this might be a bit of an Arteta smokescreen. Because we know some players don't always train, do they? Mm-hmm. Like Martin Zubimendi, it's been spoken about quite a lot, weirdly, specifically him, that sometimes they like miss a session just because we've got so many games coming that it's kind of the players that are playing a lot get a break because of load management. So I'm hoping that Timber is that, because I've not heard anything about what the actual injury is.
It's just a sneaky. Is. He's probably he's probably getting some physio. He's fine, but Arteta's doing his you will see type play.
Yeah, I reckon he'll be there.
I'm with you on that, Jim, because I look at our schedule now. If there ever was a moment to take players out of the limelight and to manage load management, it probably is now. We've got the FA Cup game against Wigan. We've got the North London derby coming up. But February, in terms of what March, April, and May are going to be, and what January was, February is probably the easiest month to manage with the squad, use the squad. Yeah. So maybe it is that, just a case of taking players out of.
It feels like, Jim, you said at the start, it feels like everyone can take a bit of a deep breath now. It's been a lot. Okay, we've had a lot of big games. We've had that semi-final. It feels like now we can just have a bit of a reset.
Yeah. Although, I mean, it's okay for us to feel like that, isn't it? I hope the team aren't going to rock up and go, we're going to win this one.
Yeah, I hope they're not at home, watching reruns of Take Me Out with their feet up. They need to be training, much as they might like to. Sunderland, we drew 2-2.
Yeah, they're a good team.
They're a good team, although their record on the road is pretty abysmal.
2 wins all season. Quite bad.
Shocking. So feels like an easy, no nonsense 3 points, because that's how we do things. But we will not see Granit Xhaka. I'm gutted.
I'm delighted. He's their best player. He makes them tick. He leads by example, right?
100%. Him and Lefebvre this season have been the little touch of class. So the rest of the team's been quite functional. And Sunderland have done what teams that are promoted and don't have the quality, even though they spent a lot of money, they should be doing. That is a blueprint now. For anyone who's coming up, play like Sunderland. Very compact, very structured, very disciplined, great in transition, a little touch of quality in the right places, and be good at home, be a fortress home. That's what used to be the blueprint for teams that were in the lower half that did quite well, that punched above their weight. And then you've got teams like Southampton recently that came up and decided they wanted to play like Barcelona.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
That was funny though, wasn't
it? Yeah,
that was funny. I will be sad not to see Granit Xhaka from a personal point of view.
Sure.
Wanted to give him a good clap, and then hope that he reverted to old Granit Xhaka, got a red card, and we could boo him off one more time. but
what would happen if he got sent off?
Oh my God. We would riot.
It would be an ironic cheer. There would be an ironic cheer. Well, not from the Sunderland fans, but we'd all be like, that's the right way to do it. That's the right time to get a red card, Jack.
Exactly. We actually are going for another record in this game. I don't know whether you guys have seen this, but we're going for our 4th straight win across all competitions, as well as a new Premier League record. This is one of those stats that people really kind of have to move specific goalposts to make it a thing. But we are unbeaten in 43 successive top flight home games against newly promoted clubs.
Oh, now
You'll never sing that.
You'll never sing that.
Yeah, good, great. Yeah.
And I'll carry on. The joint longest streak in the competition since 1992 alongside Chelsea.
Okay.
Who kept it from 2001 to 2015. Well, so, big things are hanging over this game.
Yeah, I mean, I really want that to happen.
But I don't really care either. Yeah, it's on a record that we knew about 30 seconds ago.
The only way I see that is that that is one meltdown we haven't had. We've had every other type of meltdown except this one. So let's keep that at bay a bit longer.
I think that's a good stat. And I think that should give us confidence going into the weekend. Yeah. That's why I brought it up to the table for, not to show off that I can Google things, but because I think it gives us confidence.
Yes, I do. I agree with you on that. And I do think we have normally learned how to manage these games, especially at the Emirates, a lot better than we did 2-3 seasons ago. And we don't, what I've always said about Arteta's teams is they don't tend to make the same mistake twice. We sort of put the wrongs right. And that was the 2-2. We didn't manage that game. We will have our wits about us this time, and that will be very fresh in the memory banks from what happened in November.
Yeah, and they've been a really different team at home as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
They reminded me in the game we played against them of ourselves a little bit, how much the defenders were absolutely loving defending and just really, really getting stuck in, and like the kind of enthusiasm for winning aerial duels and stuff like that. There's so much of us was evident in their performance as well. But, based on the record the records in front of us and how the difference between how they've performed home and away, we've got to be looking at this as a game where you basically just don't slip up in a stupid way. I sort of think, I wonder if there's a psychological element to not being on TV.
I could not agree more.
I feel like that as a fan. I wonder if that's kind of irrelevant to the players, but it does feel like there's a sense of like, just quietly get this done and then we move on to the next game.
Not on TV for us watchers in England, I will say. In the UK, obviously we are on TV to the rest of the world. So if you are watching, enjoy it. Lucky you, because we just get to watch someone else watch it, unless we are, of course, in the stadium. We are going to do a little bit of reflection on Tuesday. Before we do, though, Jim, you were in the ground on Tuesday night. How much do you think that last-minute goal will have lifted the Emirates? Because although we are not on TV, I do feel sometimes 3 p.m s can be a bit flat.
Yeah,
especially to start off with. You're not on TV, it's kind of middle of the afternoon, lot of football going on.
I think it's the same everywhere as well.
Yeah. Do you think that last minute goal and kind of the sensation at the end of the game will carry into Saturday? I'm hoping it will.
Yeah, I do feel like there is something to that, especially with late winners, right? Regardless of the context, because if that had finished 0-0, it was 0-0 to the Arsenal when we go through anyway, right? But it's still, the fact it was Kai Havertz, it was a massive, massive cheer. Like a late winner is a big adrenaline spike, isn't it? And I feel like I get dizzy spells in those big with those big goals when I'm in the stadium, and I've not had one in ages, which is a reminder of how long it's been since we scored like a late winner like
Jim,
that.
where you sit? Are you a sitting down person, or do you stand up the whole time?
I'm not in a place where you can really stand up.
Right. Okay. So it could just be a head rush. You know, when you get up, it could just be a head rush.
I have it all the time. No, seriously, I collapsed. I remember being in my flat. Remember Martinelli's goal at Chelsea during COVID, where he ran the half pitch.
Yes.
I ran around my house and literally collapsed. I fainted. And since then, every goal like that has caused that sort of reaction. And even when I was here watching match reaction for the United game and Marino goal went in, I had the same thing. And I said to our producer, Finn, I was like, oh my God, I've nearly gone there again. So yeah, it must just be age.
I just need a cigarette.
Yeah, cigarette will sort it all out.
A cigarette.
My wife wasn't happy about, but yeah. but yeah.
As you say, I think it will give us a bit of a lift, but I'm also of the opinion that games like this just don't need to be that dramatic. Let's just be professional. Yeah. We have the chance to put a lot of pressure on the Sunday. Let's just get it done.
And we've been better at doing that when we play first, haven't we? And that mad stat that you just dug up shows how good we've got at being essentially professional in these games. I do think Sunderland are kind of a bit of an outlier in terms of the promoted teams, because they're not playing like one, are they? It's essentially irrelevant to call them that at this point in the season, because they're obviously going to stay up very easily. They're a good side, but I think no Xhaka is key. I've been very impressed with Brian Brobby, so he could be a little bit of a handful. But again, I feel like we're getting some of that feeling of security back from our defenders. It was evident against Chelsea, and I would love it if we can get ourselves back to into a little period of clean sheets again.
I was going to ask you about that, because we was mentioned on our match reaction in terms of how calm we were during that game. Was that feeling in the stadium? Because we are at home. I never thought there was even a remote chance of us conceding. Did you feel that in the stadium?
It felt like, because Chelsea was sort of attacking us a bit more in the second half, it felt you know what it felt like? You could see what Rossini was trying to do, right? So it's essentially, he was setting up to try and make a mistake, instructing his forwards not to really move too much, so as to not sort of trigger passing lanes for us, all that stuff. And because it was so obvious that like they were going to bring on Cole Palmer and whoever after about an hour or whatever it was, we were like, this might be a little bit tricky, because we've not seen what they're going to do when they try to attack us. But then it became quite clear that actually we're now the better side in this kind of mode of the game. So not really. No. There's always going to be a low level anxiety that, like, if they score, it's probably going to be extra time now. It's like, oh God, and then it might get a bit nervy. But like you could conceptualize nerves, but I don't think people were really actually feeling that anxious. No. That's been massively overblown in the press.
Yeah, I'm sure I saw a headline in an article that I actually was asked to contribute in, where they've twisted the word slightly, that said literally the Emirates crowd is contributing to Arsenal's nervousness. And you're like, I wish I had that much influence on these players. What a way to make me feel really, really important. Like, these are professional players. Like, me being a bit nervous in my seat, which I am, I would like to think has no effect on a player 100 metres away from me. But there we go. A couple of words on Saka. He will be sitting out for the next couple of games. He's been talked about a lot this season because I think at the start of the season, there was a lot of feeling that this could be his opportunity to really go to the next level, really, really kind of have a Mo Salah type season. It's not quite arrived. Is it a good time for him, Jonny, to maybe sit out for a bit, recuperate, and come back? Because I think when he has previously had long spells on the side, he's come back really, really strong.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put a spin on losing one of our good players. Bit of a reach.
It depends on the nature of the injury. If there is an injury, it depends. Because if it's another
hip, isn't it? No,
it's a hip.
It's
It's not. Yeah. So I think this is what Jim was mentioning earlier, a period where Arteta is sort of going to take the wind out of, or just take people out of the limelight because get us ready for the big run-in. We're fighting for 4 trophies. If he's out of the team, if he's dropped now, it causes a little bit more chatter in the press about, is it form or anything else? Maybe take him out for a few games, give him this rest now, because we are going to need you, our star boy. We're going to need you for March, April and May, big time. And we need him to probably step it up a level a bit as well. But I don't think there's this narrative that Saka hasn't been playing great because you look at the numbers. I think Saka's been a massive contributor to a lot of our wins this season. I think he occupied, like he always does, he is such an issue for opposition defences and for his opposite number. And he does the right things time and time again. And it gets overlooked if you don't get the assists and the goals for it. But he really is I still feel the threat he always has been for us.
It's just a patch, isn't it? I think of those numbers going down, because as you say, he's been contributing. I don't think it's likely that he's sort of plateauing into a player who's already peaked. I think it's just a kind of essentially a patchy run of form in front of goal. And also, we've had a period where all of our forwards have stuttered a little bit, and that's obviously going to affect his numbers in terms of assists as well. So it's never good to not have your best players available, and make no mistake about it, he's one of our best players for sure. But you were saying recently, Jonny, that you think Noni Madueke needs a run in the team, kind of an uninterrupted run for us to really start seeing the best of him. So you got to look at that as a positive, because he's going to get that chance now, and he's been good in the last couple of games. Yeah,
I do think that 100%. And I think even against Chelsea, yes, it was that sort of game where they were set up to sort of nullify everything we did initially, but he was still an outlet. And I feel the more time he spends in the team, we bought him. From the moment we bought him, I wasn't a big fan of the decision, but the minute we bought him, I was like, okay, I started to see what the potential of Noni is. And yeah, if it takes 6 months, it's now we're starting to see that.
I think this will be an opportunity for him to play himself into a bit of form. And part of that includes games where, like Chelsea, maybe not that effective, but that's part and parcel of it. And while Saka is out, I think it's time for him to step up, and I think he will. So we face Sunderland at 3 p.m. on Saturday. They haven't won away from home in their last 7 games in the league. So what could possibly go wrong? After the break, more reaction to Tuesday night. We look ahead to Wembley and Arteta's big book. Welcome back to The Thing About Arsenal. Just before we look ahead at our opponents, Man City, who we will face at Wembley, John Terry. Now, John Terry filmed himself watching the last couple of minutes of our game on Tuesday. It's a very peculiar watch, if you ask me, because he seems more fixated on the camera than what's happening behind him. He could have just filmed that from a completely different angle. And obviously it's got the fantastic Schadenfreude of us scoring that last minute winner. My question to you both, if you filmed a video like that, would you post it?
That is the thing that astonishes me most, especially because within that video, his own daughter is going, "Dad, please don't put this anywhere." And he's still...
And he's like, "This is mint, I'll post it."
Can he just not resist mugging off his own daughter more than he's bothered about people laughing at him?
That is it. It's extreme narcissism, really, if I'm honest with it. It's like, I couldn't believe it he's put that out. Without the rivalry between the two of us, it was just like a great big opportunity for us, to be fair. And I was astounded by it.
He was so, I think, expectant that Chelsea were about to score. That's why he's got his phone out. So not only is it completely deluded, again, if I filmed that, it would be deleted completely and never spoken about again. And I always have such respect. Respect, maybe that's not the right word. But for fans who post videos of teams scoring against them from the stadium, the number of views I've seen of Arsenal scoring at the away end, and people just post it. What's this? It's this sort of self-flagellation type thing.
We've lost our minds as a society. Phones have made us lose our minds. If you said to Paul Scholes in the 90s, in the future, there will be a video posted around the internet of you nibbling your daughter's toenails, he'd be like, what are you talking about? That is impossible. I'm never going to let that happen. But she herself has taken that video and it's out there.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
If you said to Paul Scholes...
Like and subscribe.
If you said to Paul Scholes, just after coming off a Champions League game, that, in 25 years, you're going to be sitting in a shed in Salford with the host of Take Me Out... and really desperate for engagement, he'd also find that quite surprising.
He owes us some money because we are promoting Paddy McGuinness a lot, multiple times. Well, we faced Man City, who beat Newcastle 5-1 on aggregate, and we will face them Sunday the 22nd of March. How do we feel about Man City over Newcastle? Because I think if you'd asked me previously, I maybe would have preferred Newcastle, absolutely. But I do think, finals are a different game, okay? Anything can happen in a final. And we obviously lost to City last time we were in the Carabao Cup final. So, Jim, how do we feel facing them in what could be, as we'll talk about in a moment, a 4 times in less than a month meeting with Man City?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just essentially of the opinion that you just got to deal with what's in front of you, right? If we're serious about being a team that can win things regularly over a sustained period of time, these are the opponents you have to face in finals,
best,
right?
You've got to beat the best.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, there's no point being particularly nervous about it in terms of looking at who we could have got instead of them. And I think it's going to be a really, really interesting battle, this. We've not lost against City in our last 6 meetings, which is very interesting. We've never beaten them at the Etihad under Arteta, which is obviously relevant in the Carabao Cup final. They're way more experienced in finals than we are. But I do think there's a sense that this Arsenal team wants it more, even with the potential idea that this could be Pep Guardiola's last season, and there's a lot of new players at City that want to kind of get a trophy under their belts. I think there's a sense that we have more momentum, and I just feel like we should ride that. I feel like we should harness that.
I think when I think back to the final last year, so Newcastle, Liverpool, I feel like we are Newcastle in this situation. And yes, some people will call it desperation, but I agree. I think it's more momentum, and it's the first final we've been in for years. I would like to think that will carry us over. And City, for all their trophies that they won, they are seasoned veterans at getting this over the line. Yeah. But I do just feel like it is a little bit in our favour, Jonny.
Do you know what? I've just thought of something. Pep Guardiola at Wembley against big teams, not against the Watfords where you win 6-0 in the FA Cup final, but I'm thinking back to the United final, and not even in finals in general, or the Champions League 2021 final, or us semi-finals at Wembley 2020 before we went and won the Cup. For some reason, he does choke against big teams
and he overthinks, doesn't he?
He overthinks things. The Champions League final against Chelsea when he didn't play a defensive midfielder. I don't know. And Pep at the moment, he doesn't feel like the confident, victorious Pep that we've seen for the past 6 years as well. Yeah, I think he knows we're a better team, and I feel as though we might hopefully get Pep overthinking it on this occasion. That might just be wishful thinking, but and it might be unfounded about his record in finals. But I feel like against big teams, he does sometimes get it wrong.
Yeah, it'd be great if he makes some sort of mad team selection decision. But I think there's a sense, isn't there, that this set of players, they need a trophy, and it's not even necessarily about the trophy when the trophy in question is the Carabao Cup. It's about getting that experience of winning something, knowing what that feeling is like, and just saying to yourself, I know I can do this because I have done it. And that's really important here. And as you touch on, Laura, we could be playing City a lot over a very short period of time. And so the reason for that is that if we progress through the last 16 of the Champions League and they do as well, we can meet each other in the quarterfinal. Who do you think that benefits more, us or them?
Oof.
I think it benefits us more if we win the Carabao Cup final.
Right.
I think that then, because that would be the first one. That would be the first one. We could also meet them in FA Cup as well, which is another thing. But I think it benefits us if we can prove that we can beat them in that big game, and I think that gives us the momentum. It puts a lot of pressure on that game, though.
I completely agree about the Carabao Cup final, because I think we win that. If on paper right in front of me now, I fancy us in the Carabao Cup final. I actually wouldn't fancy us in the Champions League.
Yeah, 2 legs is difficult.
Do you know what I mean?
Especially with Arteta never having beaten
exactly.
them there.
But I do think a win in the Carabao Cup final, and then I'm singing to the Etihad.
Because it's so many games in such a short period of time, and you've got two absolutely obsessive lunatics who are going to pore over every detail with so much data in front of them about how the other team sets up.
They might end up playing themselves.
They
might do something nuts. And I'm starting up front.
Who do you think would come off better if that was the situation? Who do you think still got it better?
Arteta's younger, isn't he? So it's
he is younger.
Arteta still looks like he can play.
I would agree.
He really looks like he ain't put a pound of weight on since playing.
Although some players, right? Do you remember when Matthew Flamini came back to Arsenal for his second period here?
Yeah.
And his job was essentially just running around and pointing at players, going, you go there and you go there. And like, I haven't got the legs to do this. Yeah. I mean, Pep Guardiola's got so much mad energy that he might be perfect in that role as a kind of quite literal manager on the pitch as well.
Yeah, but from a physical sense, I absolutely would agree. Arteta, he'd have him 100%. One thing that Pep has said in the press this week is having a little moan about Wembley. I don't know if you both saw this. Basically said that Arsenal have a slight advantage because of the geographical location of Wembley and that Manchester City would have to travel and we would be waiting for them there.
Right.
I was at the Community Shield when we last played them at Wembley. But I remember speaking to City fans and there was barely any City fans there that day. They were sick and tired of coming to Wembley. They've been
Crimea
so...
River. I'm so successful. I'm in another final.
But for us, that day out and like this day, it's going to be a big day out for us and we'll make a big deal out of it. It will feel like a home game, to be fair, but that's not our fault.
Just the idea that we're waiting for them. Yeah. We're all tucked up in bed and they're having to get, you're not getting a 5 a.m. flight from Luton. Yeah. You get a private jet and you fly from Manchester to London.
Yeah, it's like the Sharks and the Jets. We're just there ready, clicking our fingers.
Just West Side Story at Wembley.
Wembley Side Story, surely. Let's make it that. Let's make it that. I just feel like if he's moaning about things like this, it's the sign of an anxious mind, isn't it?
That's why I brought it up. He's rattled. Genuinely, you're literally moaning about the geographical location of our national stadium.
Oh, they won't change the rules. We've got to get on a bus.
I think he's got one foot out the door, Pep. A lot of his behaviour recently has suggested that, and good luck to him. But yeah, that's ridiculous. Like he knew at the start of the competition that he was going to be at Wembley. And
that's just how it works.
You want to move to Villa Park now just because it's Arsenal that got their mental?
Well. One manager who is not rattled, Mikel Arteta, launched a passionate defence of our style of play this week, saying that he has, quote, a massive book of people who feel his side are the most exciting in Europe. Now, Jim, do we think this is a figure of speech or does he actually have a book, maybe a leather-bound notepad that's moleskin, inexplicably costs 45 quid from Selfridges?
Yeah.
Like, do we think it's figurative or has he actually got a book?
It really could be either with him. It's probably just a list of the season ticket holders and Anne Hathaway. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's got a personal dossier on me. Like, just because my name's in the system somewhere. You know how intense and mad he is on that. It's very like... my girlfriend goes to another school energy, isn't it? I've actually got this big book of people who say we're brilliant.
My boyfriend, who I made up a email for on MSN and is weirdly never online at the same time as me. Big energy. Jonny, who do you think would be in the book?
Who would be in the book? I think...
Who's he written down and been like, this person's texted me and said that we are the most exciting team in Europe?
His wife's one of them, definitely,
100%.
because his wife absolutely... He thinks, rightfully so, his biggest cheerleader. I'm trying to think. I mean... To be fair, a lot of managers across Europe have been singing his praises. Guillaume Balaguer's one. I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah, he's in the book.
Guillaume Balaguer has been doing a lot of work with our club recently and singing the praises of Arteta. So Guillaume Balaguer, definitely. But yeah, a lot of the managers across Europe and a lot of agents of clubs that really probably have been trying to tap up Arteta behind the back. Yeah. I think maybe the Barcelona... sporting director and chairman might be there as well.
I like the idea of him sitting at home, maybe watching midweek games, midweek interviews on Amazon Prime, just with his pen, just ready.
Yeah, that's another one.
That's another one.
Great.
Jose Mourinho.
Piers Morgan recently said we've got the best squad in history. Which not helpful, is it?
Simon Jordan actually came out the other day after years of criticism and said Arteta now is an elite manager.
It's a rogues gallery though, this, isn't it? It's proper like, are we the baddies? Kind of feel.
Thierry's just joined it. He's just been put in a book.
He's in the book, is he? Right, okay.
Yeah.
one thing on Arteta's wife. I've seen her in person. Like I've been as close to her as we are. She's the most beautiful human being I've ever seen. Wow, genuinely the most beautiful.
She looks powerful, as in she's
the first name in the book as well, I think. Yeah. So fantastic. Well, one day, we might discover whether this book is real when he presents it when we've won the Champions League, but we'll see. After the break, the curious case of Sandro Tonali. Welcome back to the thing about Arsenal. We mentioned on Monday's show that there were some rumours of Arsenal exploring a deal for Newcastle's Tonali. After much sort of back and forth rumours, it turns out that it was his agent that offered him to Andrea Berta after Newcastle had basically poo-pooed it, called it ridiculous, etc., etc. But he was offered, Jim. Is it realistic that we might sign him, or was this just a bit of fun?
This was an absolute baffling.
I got very excited for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's a really, really strange one. So what I suspect this is his agent offering Sandro Tonali to Arsenal is odd, right? Especially on deadline day. There's no way that's going to happen. Newcastle would never have time to find a replacement. There's all kinds of reasons that's mad. So it's obviously going to be dismissed out of hand as one of those wacky sort of deadline day quirks that you get. Mm-hmm. But I think what it does is it puts up the signal that he'd be interested in the move in the summer.
It's a come and get me,
not
please,
necessarily
isn't it?
To us, though, I would say.
Anyone come and get me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like sending out the bat signal.
And we're maniacs, Arsenal fans. And I'm like it myself. When it comes to transfer stories, we love it.
Like wrapped up a drain pipe.
I was the same as both of you, though. I had a lovely little daydream for half an hour. Like, if hypothetically, would you be happy with that as a signing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Do you know he's one of the quickest players in the Premier League?
You said that the other day.
I still, because I didn't know. You watch him and you think, okay, he's great covering and chasing back and whatever else. But apparently he's he's rapid.
He's a brilliant player.
Yeah,
every time I've watched them live, I've been really impressed with him when I've seen him. And I've seen quite a lot of Newcastle fans like wondering essentially out loud, like, is he one of the best players we've ever had, full stop? And I think it's funny, isn't it? Because if you kind of do the thought exercise of fitting him into the squad, there's no obvious need for him. But he's a player that could play in Zubimendi's role, could play in Declan Rice's role. So you got a rotation option there.
It's that.
He's all action as well. He gives you so much energy in midfield. I just think, he's going to make any squad he joins stronger. It's just that I don't know, unless we move Norgard on.
Don't do that.
Yeah, it would be.
I like the idea of
a weird one.
Of a speedy player, though. I think beyond Martinelli, it's not something that we have in abundance. We have players who are quick on the ball and things, but someone who's really, really kind of rapid would be nice.
Kante style kind of terrier in midfield.
Because I don't think
great.
Mourinho, if Declan's out of the team, we don't actually replace that in terms of someone, the horse that gallops around the pitch and puts out fires. Mourinho doesn't quite do that. So there's an argument for him.
We do have a horse that gallops around the pitch and starts fires. So it's nice to have that balance.
Yes,
absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, we all got excited about nothing, but I agree. I think it's one of those ones where it's an opportunity to throw up a signal to other clubs, even some of the Spanish clubs. I'm sure he will end up that way, come the summer. But it was fun for about 30 minutes on what was otherwise a quite uneventful transfer deadline day and across the board. Just
one more other thing on that. Does anyone know how many years he's got left in his contract? Because I don't think anyone outside of the Premier League can actually afford him unless he's going to. If he's got more than 2 years left in his contract, he is a £70 million player.
Yeah, it's until 2029 with the option of another year. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of money.
It's a lot of money for Sandro Tonali.
Well, Eddie Howe seems to think that he's happy there and says that the player loves representing the city, which feels like the kind of BS you say when you just... Yeah, he loves the team.
So did Isak.
Away the lads, whatever it is. Just before we move on, there was one enjoyable report from Bayern Insider that Leon Goretzka, who is out of contract this year, could be on his way to us on a free transfer in the summer. And when you read this, you think, it's 2022.
And I'm excited. This might get us back into the Champions League.
Like, wow, Arteta's really making his mark on this new squad. Happy days. It feels quite vintage.
It does. I think Goretzka became a bit of a lightning rod for criticism for Bayern, which is amazing, isn't it? Every club's got one, however well you're doing. And he's 6'2", But in my head, he's like 7 feet and about 8 feet wide. He's Munich's most massive man. And I think, again, it's another odd one, isn't it? He's 30 years old. So the only place for him in the squad, especially as he's in these days in his career, he's essentially really a sort of specialised defensive midfielder. It would just be a really quite harsh immediate upgrade on Norgard. Otherwise, I don't see why we do it.
There's just no need for it. But we just can't seem to get away from this link. Like, we're obsessed with it.
Yeah. It's like, for me, I remember thinking, if we could swap Xhaka for Goretzka back in. But it was, he's a four. He's in my head, I see him as a four-like character because there was a period of time about 3-4 years ago when all the Bayern players got bigger. They came back from the summer, all were jacked up, and there was all of these, manipulated pictures that came out of him, and he looked like 4. And that's the only thing I really remember. And then since then, he hasn't really had a great time in that midfield.
Like one of those horrific bulls. Are they called Belgian Blues? Where they're sort of like really, really pumped full of God knows what, and they just look terrifying.
But you're right, Jimmy. He's 6'2". In my head, he's way taller than that. 6'2" is fairly standard for, you're not like, oh God, he's so tall. But in my head, the only image I've got of him is like one of those mocked up ones. Yeah. But who knows? The
one thing that gives me pause about it is that he'd be available on free, right? And we spent so much money last summer. There was talk of Quentin Timber as well, which would have been great, right? Because he would have been available on a free. You could do the old switcheroo, which you don't see very much because there aren't many twins in football.
And he is identical to Jurrien.
Yeah, they really do.
Crazy.
Like, you could sneak them on and off, I think, like quite quickly. If they just needed a break, you'd just be like, you pop to the toilet, have a little rest, on you go, just while everyone's watching. Well, Leon Goretzka, welcome to Arsenal in the summer. Who knows? There has been a lot of talk about the atmosphere, and we have already talked about it today as well, and the nerves among the fan base. So we had this question from Craig on email. What tics do you guys have when watching Arsenal at home or in the stadium? And what are the best ones you've heard? Mine is cover, cover, cover in a tone of rising panic. This is an exceptional question.
That's great.
Absolutely exceptional question. Jim, do you have a personal tic that you do or something from maybe someone who sits around you?
I do. If a chance goes awry or a pass is misplaced or something like that, I go, that's a shame. And I do it all the time. I've been doing it for years. I don't know where it comes from. I feel like I've picked it up from someone else, but I can't remember who. More often than not, I sit next to Rory, and Rory's is, don't foul him. And very often the Arsenal player then will foul someone, which is just, I think, Rory's insight there.
The specific, it's when someone's under pressure, they're trying to either play it back to their goalkeeper or boot it long, and you're like, don't foul him, don't foul him. Defender goes over, the foul is given 9 times out of 10, and you're like, don't foul him. Jonny?
I'm trying to think what I do. I'm quite erratic watching Arsenal, as we did a watch along in the studio the other day, and you'd be able to see that on there. I do a lot of like first name calling. So I better, better. Calm down, Gab. I'm like that. I like to offer like some sort of soothing, sort of encouragement a lot of the time, but nothing. There's a lot of abuse towards the ref. I'll be honest. Especially when I'm in the stadium.
It's honest of you to admit that. Yeah,
I'm terrible. Yeah. When I sit, it is the loudest part in terms of the shouting. There's a geezer behind me. I won't say his name, but he literally has a panic attack literally every 5 minutes watching us. And he's
there's a bloke behind me like that as well. There's always one, isn't there? Yeah. I think there's one a row.
Yeah. That's how they do the season ticket.
Come on, boys, what's happening here? What's going on now? Like,
the guy behind me is whenever anyone's through on goal, an opposition player, and I can't fathom why he does this, but he'll go, take him down! It's like, that's the last thing they should be doing. Why are you encouraging that? And he also seems to take David Raya's positioning like personally. You can hear his blood pressure rising when he's like, get back in goal, Raya! I think the older generation struggle with some of the kind of passing out from the back stuff. Yeah. One of the best ones I've seen like that in terms of the abuse of an official, let's just be honest about what it is.
We're just giving feedback.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Feedback to officials. There was obviously they wear quite brightly coloured shirts, and there was some sort of marginal offside call that probably wasn't offside or was offside or whatever it was, and someone just went, "Get involved, you yellow prick!" Love it.
Simple.
Get involved,
to the point.
you yellow prick.
That's fantastic.
Laura, do you have any?
I do actually. I have a personal one that unfortunately everyone who sits around me, and I've had the same ticket since 2013, so I've got to know all the people around me really well. What a fantastic group of people. I have a real thing where as the game progresses and I get more nervous, I slide down my seat. So I start sitting in the chair like this, kind of, being able to see. And then the more nervous I get, I sort of start slumping a little bit lower so that I almost can't see the play. I have someone who sits behind me and I actually don't know their name. And for a long time, I didn't know what they looked like, but it was just a voice a couple of rows behind me. And he has some spectacular, nonsensical ticks that he says over and over again. The first one is one touch. So regardless of the situation, regardless of whether it's appropriate for the players to be, kicking it between them one touch, or we're under a lot of pressure, he will shout one touch, always with the same sort of inflection, one touch, one touch.
High expectations.
Yeah. And then there's another one that he does when, again, regardless of whether we've got a penalty or we've conceded one, he'll shout, watch the keeper. I don't know what that means. No. I don't know why I'd be watching the keeper, but he's done it consistently since I've sat there. It's just fantastic.
I've become like, when we're under pressure, I check my flash scores and I'll see if anyone like Chelsea, Spurs or United are losing. I'll be like, 1-0 United, everyone. 1-0.
I love that. You're providing a service.
So I've become a bit like that where I do like that. Jesus Christ. The energy to get,
you're one of the lucky people whose phone works as well in the Emirates. Like, not everyone gets that.
Yeah, you're hogging the data from the rest of us.
Absolutely. I love that you're providing a service.
It was with O2. I'm with EE now, so yeah, it probably isn't as good.
There was a guy that used to sit in front of me quite a lot who he'd sit there with his arms folded. One of those fans who's like, you have to be 4-0 up for him to be enjoying it. And whenever a player of ours would approach someone in a kind of one-on-one situation, he'd go, skin him, like as if that's easy. It's like essentially the hardest thing to do in the game.
Yeah, especially this modern game.
That's incredibly childish.
But it would always be skin him.
Oh God. Sorry, just one more because I have to mention this guy. He's Red Ken, I think he is on X. He's fantastic. And whenever an opposition player takes a shot that either goes wide or is into row Z, he'll shout. He usually waits for the pause, everyone to go way, there's a bit of a pause, and then he'll go, I live closer than that. And it's just like, it's such a good bit. And he's done it for 10 years. And it's got to the point where when it happens, I go, say the line, Ken. Say the line, Ken. It's
not Ken Livingston, is it?
No.
Well, you said Red Ken. I was like...
Is that what Ken Livingston goes by? Red Ken?
It used to be called Red Ken when he was
to call him.
It would make sense. Speaking of celebrities, apparently James Corden was at the game on Tuesday night.
Why do we have so many villains in our stadium?
Quite, Jim.
Kim Kardashian, James Corden, Osama bin Laden.
Right, well, this is what I was going to ask you guys. I saw a piece of content doing the rounds this week on who is the worst famous person who supports your club. And I was trying to wrap my brains about who that would be for Arsenal. And I couldn't find any proof of this, but Jim, you've already said it. I don't think you could do much worse than bin Laden.
Bin Laden.
Yeah, he's dead though, isn't he? So
yeah.
I mean, does he still count?
I couldn't find anything to actually verify that he was an Arsenal fan.
He was. No, he definitely was.
Yeah, the talk was that he used to come to games.
Yeah, he used to come to. His family.
There's no way. Was he not a bit busy?
No, this was before. Remember, Bin Laden was a family member of a massive. He used to be in the casinos in West End all the time. No word of a lie. This is not even unverified. I can prove this next week if you want. But he was part of Saudi Arabian royalty or aristocracy, and that was until he decided to, take aim at the CIA in America.
I mean, when you're big, you're big. Like, we're a big club. We attract the big talent.
He loved us.
Yeah, so I suppose I've never really looked at it like that because he was, there are loads and loads of Saudi princes, aren't there?
Yeah, of course.
Is this his version of like Lawrence Fox showing off a bit?
Yeah. Yeah. He's a Nepo baby that went wrong. Like, really wrong. Really wrong. And it's something to come to Highbury as well. So,
well, again, I think that's ended the conversation on who is the worst person to support your club.
Obviously, it's James Corden now. He's been in the stadium.
Well, then, if you have a question for us, or even if you have a tick that you can hear at the stadium, or have one of your own, we'd love to know about it at Think About Arsenal on Instagram, at About Arsenal Pod on X, or you can email us show@thingaboutarsenal.com. And if you're really brave, you can send us a voice note. So if there's something that you like to shout, whether it's skin him or I've also heard we need a goal a few times, which is sensational, like very, very to the point. It's never not the case as well. It works at all moments. Then you can also just send an email anonymously.
Yeah, we're not above encouraging grasses.
No, please grass. Please grass, because there are some very annoying people. But we all support Arsenal in our own ways. But some of them better than others. Jim, Jonny, thank you for joining on this episode of The Thing About Arsenal. Luke and Jim are back on Saturday for post-match reaction to the Sunderland game. And most importantly of all, please hit subscribe wherever you're watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.